everyone, and welcome to RcHelpDotCom. I'm Tony, and if you watched the last video, you watched how to build the entire head unit. This is it. I mean, I'm talking 2 links, a swash plate, swash drivers. We did the thrust bearings. There's not much that goes into building this head. Everything is nice and smooth, and you couldn't ask for a better head straight out of the package. I didn't even have to ream out any of the ball links. In this video, we're going to be starting on page 7, and basically we're going to be putting the frame together, getting our landing skids on. We're even going to be putting the gyro in. I usually don't put electronics in until after I have all this built, but if you know the clones, all this is already built anyway, and it's usually about a piece of crap, so you got to take it apart and redo it. But the bags that you're going to need is 450 Henry Boy 10 and 450 Henry Boy 10A. In here you're going to have your motor mount, and you're going to have your main bearing blocks. We're not going to use the battery tray or the anti-rotation bracket or the tail servo mount, but in this package we're going to need quite a few of these screws. So break open this bag. Even though we've already got a couple good piles sitting here, we've got our over here just off camera, we've got some shims for the main shaft. We're getting a pretty good pile of parts that we used in the first step that is going to be used in some of the last steps. Grab your knife, break open all your bags, and let's get ready to rock. What a pleasant surprise. Your canopy mounts, the bottom mainframe plate brackets, motor mount, they're all in one nice sealed package that was inside the other package. Like that. And just like with anything else, I like to take my main shaft and check all of these bearings. Little tight, I can handle that. About the same, everything feels great, perfect. And if you notice, take a good look at some of the clones right here on the top of this bearing block. They've actually taken a machine and pressed down to press against this bearing. That's not only crappy work and that they can't mill this out to the exact specs of that bearing, but it also puts unneeded stress on the outer race of this bearing that causes it to bind up, and you're not going to find any of that on any of these. This is perfect. Alright, as you can see on here, basically we're going to be taking and screwing all this to one side. This plate, this one right here, will go into these little slots and it will stay there. So what we're going to do is we're going to put all this together without this, with this piece in there, and then we're going to mount our gyro right up in there, something like that. So the first thing you've got to do, go ahead and put the 2 bearing blocks and then your motor mount on one side of your frame. On here, they're showing everything going on to the right side first and then going to the left. You can do it however you want. Now, because I am extremely picky, this one has actually got some numbering down here. This one doesn't. I'm going to make this the left side, so we're going to set that over here, and we're going to use this one as our right side. And don't forget, like I did one time, this nice flat spot goes towards the front. The bend on the top will go down, and then on the bottom it just flips over and goes at an upward angle as it comes towards the back. Get these screwed on along with the motor mount plate. Don't forget your thread lock, and then we'll get busy on putting the 2 halves together. As you can see, I've got both the bearing blocks, the motor mount, and the gyro mount set in here. Now, one thing I forgot is don't put a screw in this top center one. That is actually a long grub screw for your canopy mount. As you can see here, this side is going to be angled up and this one's going to be angled down. The flat side's here towards the front of the helicopter. This is the way you're going to want it. If you can actually take these and turn them around and they will mount up. I proved that just 2 days ago. Don't do that. Don't go all He-Man Gorilla on all these screws. As you can see, I got my Allen driver out just because it's faster and I have it and it fits, so I'm going to use it. But don't go all He-Man on these things, guys. One, you can strip out your Allen wrenches. If you strip these out, you are so screwed and you're going to have to get these. If you go crazy with these on torquing them down, you're going to strip them out. This top one right here actually started to spin on me. Now there is a fail-safe. I can actually get a longer screw and put a nut back here on the back side. You can't hardly do that on these right here, even though they do go all the way through this piece of metal right here. Now this one here is actually going to be your 1.3 millimeter. The first thing I always like to do is do a test fit and see how far it'll actually go into that block. If it's like the clones, this thing will screw all the way in until it hits the bearing. Now right there, as you can see, I've screwed it in as far as it'll go, and it's still sticking out a pretty good ways. It's more than enough for this canopy mount to screw onto and get a good bite to where it won't strip out. Thank you, clones, for teaching me this much better. So back this out, back your grub screw out, put a little bit of thread lock on the inside of it and on the outside of it so that we can screw this on, and then lightly with a pair of pliers, just lightly torque these down. Make sure the gap between the carbon fiber and this block goes away. Alright, got the canopy mount on. Now, the way they're showing it here is they want you to go ahead, put both sides together, and then we'll get that gyro put on. Set that piece aside, grab our other half. This gyro mount was really tight in one side of this. Personally, I kind of like it being that tight. That means it's not going to vibrate. So I'm not going to sand anything on these holes, nothing. I'm just going to set it on there, make sure it seats down in there, and then I'm going to start putting screws in. As you can see, got both sides put on, both canopy mounts on, everything is secured. Got the gyro mount in there, made sure it was good and seated. There is no play in it at all. Love it. Now, one thing you could do, you could go ahead and take these little brackets and lightly put them up in here like that, but I would rather do just like they have here in the manual, put them on the bottom plate, and in the next pages we'll actually put it on the actual frame. For now, we need to take this and put it on that. Peel off the white backing, make sure there is no oil or anything. I've already cleaned this off. Make sure there's no little pieces of plastic from other things either. And stick the double-sided tape onto your gyro. Now here is something I really like about this gyro. One, it's got a little arrow down here, which is actually supposed to be the canopy pointing this direction, going that way. That always needs to go to the front. Because I'm putting this in position 1, which is down here, versus up here, yeah, like that, which is position 2, because I'm putting it down here, I'm actually going to have to reverse, I forget how they call it, the left something or other. We'll get into that a little bit later. But we need to hook this up to the computer, and we need to actually reverse one of the settings to make it work down here. What we're going to do is we're going to put it down in here, and I'm going to set it there just to show you. I have pretty much centered that on there. As you can see, the data and the governor port are visible over there, and if I flip it over, both your receiver ports are visible there, and then whenever you put this plate on, you've still got access to see all of your different colored lights, so you can reverse whatever and do all the settings, but you can also get to your elevator and aileron pots and adjust your gain. You want to talk about some advanced engineering, they did this correctly. I like it. Now what you want to do, you don't want this contacting the side of the helicopter, so you want to be real careful when you put this in, but you want to make sure it is perfectly centered front to back and not touching the side, and then stick it down on there after peeling the red off. Once you get stuck down in there, make sure to give it a few good presses. If you do like I just did and pop that out, slide it back into the side of the frame and go again. Alright, now we're ready to do just what it says right there. Now for this step of the process, you're going to find in the same bag where you found all your screws for the side of your canopy, you're going to find 2 long screws and then kind of like a medium screw. Now you're also going to need 3 of these washers to put on there as well. Grab your plate, take the medium screw, dab a thread lock, don't forget your washer, and then screw it to one of these supports. Now one thing you're going to notice, the holes in these are surprisingly bigger than these bolts. Yeah, well, the aluminum actually fits in there to keep it from going side to side. I'm telling you, the quality of these over a clone is unbelievable. I'll say that a million times in this video. Well, in this video series, I should say. Don't quite tighten these down yet because we've still got to be able to position them once we get it put into the frame. Now on these longer ones, we'll grab our washer, little thread lock. Once you get your washer on, stick it up through there, and then remember the curve of the skids is going to go towards the end with the big round area where your motor actually goes. Stick it through there, and then put your bracket on. Same thing for the rear. And with that, page 7 is done. Flip it on over here. Now as you can see on page 8, they're ready for us to start putting servos into the main frame, and this is before we even put that bottom piece on. We're going to go ahead, fire these up, center them, know exactly where they are. Then we're going to put our arms on in the directions they're showing. So I'm going to get my radio. I'm going to center up all these. While I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and center the DS520, get it ready, get this servo arm put on since we have to open up the package. Then we'll go ahead and put these in onto the main blocks. Alright, as you can see, I've got a battery hooked to a speed control. This is not the speed control that I'm using in this one. This will be the speed control that I'm using in this one. But no battery ends. Still got to do that. But it's going into my receiver. I bound my receiver to a new model. Make sure to put your model in here so you get everything centered. Then I've got, this one's going to be the pitch. The pitch is going to go on the left side of the helicopter. We've got our pitch, we've got our elevator, and we got our aileron. Now, we know whenever we put these in, they're going to be, the actual gears are going to be at the top. So with this one being on the right, I know this one has to come out to the right. This one will have to go out to the left. This one going in the rear will actually go out to the right, just like the aileron will. So now we got to get our servo arms. The servo arms are going to be in your electronics box with all your servos and everything. This one is going to go to our 520. And then we got our aileron, we got our pitch. Aileron is going to go on the right, so set that like that. As you can see, that arm is not 90 degrees. We can tune that out. As you can see, the pitch has about the same amount of drop. Now like I say, we can use sub trim to take this out. Okay, scratch that. This is going to be the closest. This one's going to go low, this one's going to go high, blah, blah, blah. That's the way we're going to do it. We're going to like it. As stated, this one's the elevator. It's going to go in the side of the frame just like this. So it needs to come towards the back. Or as it's facing away from you, it needs to go towards the right. Again, this one's just a little bit low. We can do it. Now, the most important thing after we do this is remember where these things go. If you don't remember where they go, you're scrogged. Big time. Metal screw into a metal servo. That's right. Alright, got all them on there. Just because I can, I'm going to hook the rudder up. I'm going to center it. Alright. We got all our servos centered. We know this one is the elevator. We know these two are the aileron. Now we can take our mess of screws, make sure we don't knock them all off. Now we need to take all of our ball links and put them into the arms. Now if you look on here, they're wanting you to put the ball links into the inside hole. So that's what we're going to do. Now that we got them through, we need to grab 3 of these nuts, put some thread lock right on the back of these things, and then tighten them down. Let me tell you what, that has got to be the fastest I've ever put these balls on these servo arms. Most excellent. Now we need to put them on the actual blocks. For that, we're going to need to dig out all these little bitty screws. Make sure you put the silver screws into the servos, not the black ones. Thankfully, it's the same thread, so it's just a lot longer. No need for all that. And here I thought I just ruined $70 worth of servos. 80. Alright. Now, pair up your aileron and your pitch. We're going to get these bad boys ready to put in here. It helps if you actually think about this in the right perspective. I was thinking about it going in the frame like this. Yeah. Okay. So, I've actually got the aileron and the pitch plugged in backwards with the way the servo arms are. Easy solution there. Switch them. They're even closer. Alright, good deal. I lucked out on that one. Now, what we can do, we can unplug all of this crap. Remember, this one's going to be your elevator. So let's set it back over here. This one is the pitch. It'll go on the left side. This one, aileron, goes on the right side. And of course the 520 on the rudder. Now, when you put your servos in, take your arm and fold it all the way down. That way you can actually slide these in here and screw them in. Now you're going to have some little small black washers. Take those and put them on these little black screws before you put your thread lock on them. Once that's done, put a little thread lock, put them through the servo, and then screw them here into this block. Remember, don't go crazy on torquing these things down. You don't want to bust that case to that servo. Take your time when doing this. Alright, there you go. Aileron and pitch are in. Now we need to put the elevator on. Remember, the elevator is going to the left side, at least according to the instructions. Now the good thing about the Pro version 2 is they've actually cut the mainframe down to where we can mount this on the outside. It's about friggin' time. That's what I gotta say about it. Because having to put this inside here and then bring your Allen driver through here, dude, that's a royal pain. Alright, and there you go. Elevator's mounted, got your aileron mounted, got your pitch mounted, got all your brackets put in, got the gyro in. Everything is looking absolutely wonderful. As you can see here, they want you to take some wet dry sandpaper and kind of sand all this crap, but let me tell you, for carbon fiber, this has got to be some of the smoothest frame edges I have ever felt. I've actually not been worried about getting cut, unlike the stamped pieces from China. Okay, so as you can see here, basically what they're wanting you to do is take you a piece of glass, window pane if you can get it out of your wall, or a picture frame. That is even better. Take it and put it down on there as you put your main shaft through the bearings, and then tighten everything down. However, mine, I'm gonna tell you, it's in there and I am not jacking with that, guys. It is absolutely perfect. As you can see, we got all of our servos in, we got our main blocks, the main frame is built. We have not got that bottom piece on. I thought it was on this page. It's not on this page. So we will be putting this on a little bit later, even though we did put the pieces on there. And guys, we're starting to get a helicopter here. In the next video, as you can see, we're going to be starting with the tail. So guys, I want to thank you for watching. Come over to the forum, sign up, join in on the conversation. If you need help building any of these, just let me know and I'll walk you through every step of it. Like I say, I've got these manuals for download on the website. I don't think I have the version 2, but I will here pretty shortly since, hey, I finally own one. So guys, I look forward to seeing you on the forum. Please comment, and right up here somewhere, there's a little subscribe button. Go ahead and click that just real quick right now. I'll wait. Okay, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. Leave me a comment below, and we'll see you guys in the next video.